Topping Talks.
Let's see it.
105 hours a week, can't be beat. Welcome to Topping Talks. Topping Talks is a Topping Tribune production, and today's episode is proudly sponsored by Topping Technologies and ExpressVPN. Topping Technologies is an IT value-added reseller and services company with a special proficiency in IT security. Heck, I see their founder at least twice a day. I say he's quite handsome and brilliant. He's me, you see, that's the joke. If you're an IT leader or a business owner, you can reach out to the team at sales@toppingtechnologies.com. Also, are you part of the 3.6% of Americans who still care about their privacy? If you are, then perfect. ExpressVPN can assist. Even though 96% of stats are made up on the spot, ExpressVPN does give a 100% guarantee via the 30-day back money guarantee. Now, without further ado, today I'm proud to say I'm interviewing Renard Henry, who's the IT manager for Toyota Connected North America. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Hey, man. Thank you for having me, man.
Absolutely. So winding back the clock a couple of years, how did you first get into IT?
Oh, man. Started back home in New Orleans. Mm-hmm. You know, had the first computer, Gateway, with Windows ME on it.
The cow PC.
Yeah.
Iconic.
You know, they used to sell those everywhere. Used to have their own, little shop and everything.
Yeah.
My mom got it for me. So excited, but, like Windows ME, I think blue screen constantly, the blue screen to death. Got to reboot it every time. But that started it all as far as loving computers. I was always a gamer.
Oh, yeah? What was your first game?
Oh, man, what did I have? Atari?
Yeah, 2600?
Little button, loving that. Played that for a while, and of course, got into Nintendo, etc.
What was your favorite Atari game?
Ooh. Jesus, honestly, it might have been Android. Not Android, Asteroid.
That's a classic. That was great. I remember my favorite as a kid was River Raid by Activision. Mm-hmm. Before Activision was like, Call of Duty photorealism. They used to have a two-dimensional airplane going down a river called River Raid, or River Raider. You'd take out two-dimensional tanks and you had to collect fuel. It was comical in comparison to today, of course.
Oh yeah, of course. You got to control. Back then, it was one little control, one button.
One button.
Yeah, one button.
Yeah.
Now,
using the Sears wooden TV at my grandma's place.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You had to invite all your friends over.
Yeah.
There was no online back then.
No.
Used to be great times back then.
Not even LAN parties at that point.
No.
It was just a straight up one console, maybe a couple controllers if you're lucky, and maybe you'll get the first party controller, and the friend you don't like gets the third party controller that sometimes works.
Yeah, the one you've been using all the time, that one worn down, you get that to one of your friends.
Exactly.
But started there. Just started loving computers, started wanting to be more interested in those. You fast forward a little bit, college hits. Got into IT. Well, I'm going to take a little step back. IT wasn't my, or computer science wasn't my initial thing that I was going to do when I got into college. I wanted to do physical therapy, wanted to do sports medicine.
Oh, really?
Wanted to work for a sports team and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Got into that, freshman year. Found out, I need to change majors. That wasn't working for me, because with that, you almost have to be almost to the level of a doctor.
Oh, yeah?
At that. So, decided let me switch to something I know. Love computers, love technology, so switched on to that. Started working at LSU Health Science Center.
Oh, nice.
I was lucky enough to be able to work there and go to school at the same time.
What kind of role? Was it like IT help desk?
Just tech, IT tech. They really didn't have, I would say, like a first level. Mm-hmm. It was just, we had a couple of computers here and there. We would give those out to loaners to the medical students, etc.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Used to do that. And then one of the guys I used to work with, Brian, he was like, hey, I'm going to teach you everything that I know. Mm-hmm. I'm going to pay it forward.
Oh, yeah.
And that helped me in college, learning on the job and then going to class and just doing that every day just made it a lot easier in college. Luckily that was right before Hurricane Katrina.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Just graduated right before Hurricane Katrina. And was looking for a place to go. Before then, before Katrina hit, I would say Dallas wasn't my first decision. No. I would say Houston was one of them.
Houston, Texas. Yes. My uncle's lived there his whole life, and he's never once said, it's great, I want to live here. Please come visit.
Yeah. I hate to say it. I didn't know much about Dallas, so Dallas wasn't on my radar yet.
A lot less humid, a lot cooler.
Yeah. Now, older. Yeah, I'm glad that didn't happen.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, glad that didn't happen. But moved to Dallas, started working at Odyssey Healthcare. even though I'm from New Orleans, I've been living here since Katrina, and it's my home. So working at Odyssey Healthcare was good. It was a hospice company. They don't exist anymore.
If you don't mind me asking, did you pick that because that's the name of the first video game console?
No.
A coincidence.
No. Just a coincidence. Just a coincidence. But learned a lot from there. Learned a lot. We used to... It used to be in downtown?
Oh, yeah.
Downtown building, right around the Chase building. Used to be around in that area. Was a good company. Learned a lot. Had a great manager, David Welch, who I learned a lot from.
What was your biggest takeaway from the role, or the biggest first challenge when you first got there?
Oh man, it was really just understanding the help desk. So I didn't really know much just because I just got out of college.
Oh yeah,
didn't know much about the help desk. First technical job ever. So just learning that, and then start learning parts of the Exchange, Active Directory.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Just learning that, trying to start learning in the networking. Back then. Not trying to sound my age, but there was no VoIP then. That was PBX.
Yeah.
PBX then. So
good old on-prem.
Yeah. Everything was on-prem. Nobody was thinking about cloud then. Nobody was thinking about that. So did that for about a year, and then moved into the legal space at Locklear, Bissell and Liddell.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. That was another year later. I would say that is a very interesting working in the legal field.
Oh yeah. A lot more compliances.
Yeah.
A lot. You gotta store data in a whole different way.
Yeah.
And their time is very, very valuable. So you gotta make IT work for them.
Yes.
Very, very well.
Yes. I was like a lot of printing going on.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Back then, but learned a lot from there. They were still doing PBX then.
Oh really?
Yeah. So we used to go in there punching cables, for new lines, etc. But learned a lot. We were still using Semantic Ghost for imaging.
Oh my gosh!
Back then,
and now Semantic is a ghost. But
yeah,
I mean, people don't realize if they're just getting IT now, like Semantic used to be the company for software solutions. Like, I mean, they used to be renowned for endpoint security, antivirus, whatever you want to call it back then, and email security, a gateway at the time. And now, not so much.
Not so much. You got people getting into the IT field they don't even
know that.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They might not even know they even existed at one point in time. You might talk about McAfee. They might say Semantic. You'd be like, what are you talking about?
What's McAfee? It's like, well, it used to be John McAfee. I mean, he used to be a genius at the time and changed the world. He went around in his little RV and he sold software before people even realized they needed it. It's like, but yeah, now, I mean, in terms of enterprise solutions, anecdotally speaking, I don't know anyone in Texas who's using them in a business environment where it used to be a standard.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, you went to any company, it was either Semantic was there or McAfee was there. It was the standard, especially for antivirus.
Oh yeah,
that's what you use.
Yeah,
there was no other between the two. Until of course, now we got next gen, etc. That's in. So at that time working at the law firm. It was a good experience there, and then once I started really learning some stuff is when I got to Lehigh Hansen. Now they're Heidelberg Materials now. Most of them know a lot of the construction that goes on around here. They still provide a lot of the materials that they did even back then. So learned a lot from there. Got able to move up.
What was it like going from the healthcare to legal then manufacturing? What was that like? Or was there a lot of differences?
No, there wasn't a lot of differences. I would say when I started, I worked on the help desk to start off. So, I always tell people I started from the ground up and worked my way up. So, worked on the help desk for a while. I think when I started, we had like 30 people on the help desk.
Yeah.
We were taking calls and only had 30-second gaps between every call. We weren't a call center though.
Yeah.
That's a weird thing. Normally you would expect, okay, that's a call center.
Yeah.
But we weren't a call center. Yeah, you would take troubleshooting issues, at cords, etc. They couldn't, load, etc. Yeah. Only had 30 seconds before the next call in. And you would do that for 8 hours straight, with no problem. So,
wow.
Anytime I now hear someone saying, oh, we're getting too many calls, I just start laughing because of that,
You're like, I don't think you know what too many calls is.
Yeah, you don't know about only having 30 seconds. You're trying to complete a ticket for the next call to come in, and, you don't get a break.
No.
Until it's lunchtime. So you're working there. So that's working from the ground up with the help desk. I was lucky I got to move into a little infrastructure after that.
What was that like? Because that's one of the biggest biggest questions I hear from people getting IT is like, you get started and then you start getting interested in a different part of IT. And in some companies, and just, there's a lot of variables that go into it. Sometimes it's prohibitively difficult to take that next step. But what was it like? And any tips for folks listening in?
I think you gotta eventually decide what you want to do. Where do you want to go? Do you want to just stay on the help desk, or do you want to go into infrastructure? You want to go into security, etc. So I think it's taking that leap as well.
Right.
Anything that you normally don't do, usually it's going to be very uncomfortable for you.
True.
You're going to be nervous about it. You're not going to be sure. And even for me back then, even applying for it was a big jump. But I wanted to get outside the help desk. I felt like, hey, I had my time there, so why not just try networking? So I applied, and I was lucky enough, to get that job and be able to move on up in the infrastructure, doing switches, doing routers, getting those shipped back and forth.
There you go.
So started getting into networking then.
Yep.
Worked there for, I think almost 6 years.
Oh, wow.
Almost 6 years. Ended off at a senior system administrator.
Excellent.
System analyst. Started working there, and, it was a good experience. I had a great manager there, Kent Pillup. During my time, he passed several years ago, but man, he is the one I would have to say inspired me to go into management.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I saw how he was just, there's always a difference between a manager and a leader.
Very true.
And he was a leader, and he inspired me to go in there because I saw how he just paid a lot of attention. He would ask you stuff outside of work. Yeah. And, even to this day, I do the same thing, I think as far as with your teams, etc., it's got to be more than about the work.
Agreed.
If that makes sense. I'm always going to ask you, how's your family doing? How's your kids doing, etc. And that's the time he took. He would ask, if he sees a problem that's going on, let's talk about it. Let's see what we can do. So he inspired me. I took a lot from him, and even use some of that still to today from what I took from him. So, did that, great experience there. I still communicate with a lot of people at, Heidelberg Materials. Some of them great friends now. A lot of them are managers now. So, you start having some great friends along the way in your career that you stay attached to, and that are more than just coworkers.
Absolutely. I mean, it's all cliche to say, but statistically speaking, if you discount sleep, you spend more time with your coworkers than your actual, families at home.
That's very true. Yeah, that's very true.
So you definitely want to surround yourself with the good people. Make sure you stay in touch with them. Absolutely.
Yeah. We still communicate, still, talk about work, etc. Ping stuff off of each other. So it's good. So after Lehigh Hansen, went to Oryx USA. As a IT service desk manager there, working for a finance company, and as you can see through that journey, I'm going to different industries every single time, not staying in the same industry.
Was that intentional or just coincidence?
I'm going to say that's coincidence.
Oh,
I'm going to
really?
say that's coincidence.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it's coincidence. It wasn't planned.
Yeah.
But, looking back, I got to see different environments and how IT in certain environments work differently. You start to find out okay, IT for a construction company is not going to be the same as IT in a finance company.
Very true.
Some of it's going to be a little slower pace in one place, and some is going to be faster pace in another location. So learned a lot at Oryx. Man, I had a great team at Oryx. Great service desk team. We got to work on a lot of great projects during the time I was there. Just seeing how finance worked, and I think when I started there, they were using Office 2000. We did upgrades to, 2013, etc. So, getting to do that, working in audio visual, got to do a lot of AV stuff. Yeah, we got to do big AV projects there.
Really? What kind?
A lot of conference rooms we had to upgrade. Worked a lot with Polycom at the time. Polycom around that time was still, they're still big now. They're Poly, but
they're owned by HP now. But
but it worked. It worked. Started talking to other vendors, then started getting into a lot of vendor management during that time. So I got to really spread my wings and start learning and start negotiating.
There you go.
Part of management during that time. And like I said, had a great team during that time, and picked up a lot of knowledge from that. And like I said, I had a great manager there. Had a great manager there at the time. And just, if you notice through the years with the good and the bad managers, I'm picking up, like a sponge, just picking up knowledge. Like, hey, this is something I need to do. These are some key things I need to do along the way to become just not you're a manager, but you need to start becoming a leader.
Exactly.
Start feeling that. So did, Oryx USA. Worked out well, and then next one after that moved to academic partnerships.
What was that for the folks who don't know?
Academic partnerships is in the educational space. They do the online space for a lot of universities. When I started there were just like 500 strong. We're a smaller company. Now they're a pretty big company now. They're buying up a lot of other companies now. And got to work there from being on the service desk, working in the infrastructure team as well. That's another great team. And during that time, I always look at certain people that I work with and see, hey, can I help them along the way? And I wind up bringing like 2 other people on during that time. And, now they're working in infrastructure now.
Oh, cool.
So always trying to like, hey, I see something great in you. What can I do in order to help you along in your path? Yeah. I think that's also being part of a manager, being part of a leader, helping others move up. So great time there. Learned a lot about the educational space. We had we had a lot of stuff going on there at the time. Of course, we had the pandemic that hit.
Oh yeah.
I was lucky enough that academic partnerships actually flourished during the pandemic.
Oh, really?
Yeah, during the online space, because now you can't go to school anymore. Yeah. I got to go online. They flourished during that time, so I definitely was lucky, humbled to still have a job, because a lot of people lost their job during the pandemic. So definitely happy about that. Learned a lot from there. We had a great director. I had a great manager, Paul Coleman, who still works there to the day. I think he's like a senior director now over there. Learned a lot from him during that time. And then all of a sudden, now we get to today, where we are today, working at Toyota Connected. Now I'm in the automotive industry.
There you go.
Or automotive tech, if you want to call that. And I would say I thought I was working at a high pace, high level until I got to Toyota Connected.
And then what is Toyota Connected? I know everyone across the globe knows what Toyota is. I mean, they're renowned throughout the centuries for the Toyota family and their legacy and what they've done. What's Toyota Connected? Well,
Toyota Connected in the simplest form, a lot of the navigation, et cetera, that go into the vehicles, Toyota Connected helps that technology and brings that to the vehicles. So they do it's innovative. It's for a person who really did not know a lot about cars until I got to Toyota Connected, it is awe-inspiring to see what they do. Just to get that technology into a vehicle. I was one of those people, you go to the dealership, go buy a car you like.
Oh, yeah.
You don't know who puts X, Y, Z in what, and why does that button work a certain way. But then all of a sudden you now are on the back end, in a sense, and see all the hard work that people put into just to make those things work in the vehicles. And like I say, it's awe-inspiring just from an IT standpoint.
Oh, yeah.
So, you're working with a lot of people at PhDs. These people are fast-paced. Fast-paced. We're now at a point, when I got there, first year was a game changer for me. I had to learn a lot in year one pretty fast. And so, like I said, I thought I was at a certain level. I had to get to a certain level, almost like, hey, I was playing college and all of a sudden I get to the NFL and everybody's the same speed or faster than me.
What was that biggest first thing you learned during that 1 year, or top 2 things?
Knowing how to get a job done in a very short period of time. We're at the point in the way we work, we can have a conversation in the morning, look to test by the end of the afternoon.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, most people don't work that way. It's like, oh, we have a discussion, we might have a meeting, it might be a couple of weeks, etc. We'll have a conversation, and all of a sudden we was like, okay, what are we gonna do to implement?
I like that.
You know,
fair.
so I had to start learning how to be fast paced, understand the business, because this is the first time I'm ever in an automotive technology environment.
Yeah.
So learning that and learning the people and how they work made me understand how I needed to work, if that makes sense. How I need the team to work. Still with the same, you know, motive of learning everybody, learning how's your family doing, etc. That's still part of it. But knowing that we can work a lot faster than I thought we could.
Yep.
If that makes sense. You know, back then, I'm going to say previously, you know, other jobs did great things, but I just did not know about, hey, there's another level to working and being efficient, and you know, Kaizen is big.
Oh yeah. Explain to the folks who might not understand the significance of that.
The significance is continuous improvement.
Yep.
Continuous improvement in all things that we do. So that for every single team, every single department surrounding Toyota, doesn't matter if it's Toyota Connected, you know, TM&A, continuous improvement.
Not just the assembly line.
Yeah, not just the assembly line. On every single aspect, every single level, it's always continuous improvement. Even for us in IT, it's the same thing, continuous improvement. You know, you always look at, hey, we did some great things last year. Hey, what are we going to do this year? How are we going to improve upon what we already did? How are we going to be innovative ourselves, just like the business is? And that's the way I look at it. Hey, how are we going to be innovative? You know, the business is already innovative. We see what great things they're doing already. How can we be innovative? So, you know, just pushing that level, pushing the line. You know, almost 2 years ago, you know, we started a book club in IT. Just to, you know, expand our horizon and, you know, start bringing a lot of stuff that we're reading, bringing that to the forefront and see, hey, how can we work, you know, more efficiently? You know, how can we have, you know, a flywheel, always have stuff going on all the time, you know, nothing's ever, you know, in a sense, in progress, if that makes sense, but in a good way. You know, hey, we finished one thing, but we're going to keep moving. We're never going to stop. Continuous improvement, if that makes sense.
Oh, 110%. And that's one of the most important, significant, pretty much evolutions or ideas or concepts in automotive history. I mean, it sounds simple today, but back in the day, not to be pejorative or talk, you know, down about the competitors, but the old methodology was, you know, have an assembly line, pump out as many as possible. And if there's an issue, you would mark the issue down, you would take a note, and then when we get to the end of the assembly line, only then would they fix it, which, again, for the business, many companies worked for decades. And Toyota came along and go, no, we're going to stop the assembly line. We're going to fix it right here, right now. And we're going to figure out why did this happen? How do we prevent that? And it's fascinating that, I mean, this public knowledge, there's books written about the topic, and yet the competitors still cannot copy that culture and that methodology. And to have that continuous improvement is really, I think, one of the top reasons Toyota is one of the largest automotive companies on the planet.
Yeah, I agree. You know, I drive a Toyota myself. I drive a Tundra.
There you go, one of the best trucks.
Yeah, I love it. You know, and knowing that some of the people I work with, put technology in that vehicle. You know, it even gives me more pride to drive that truck. Just knowing that. So, you know, hey, I take long drives in that truck, just driving around, and like I said, just knowing that, you know, hey, I know some of those people who helped bring that technology to that vehicle is just, like I say, inspiring. It
is really cool to also see kind of the local cultural adaptation with Toyota. They're one of the only, I think they actually are the only automotive company that helps sponsor NASA, which is the racing organization I'm part of. And again, I was going to say, not a paid promotion or anything, but like every time you buy a new Toyota 86 GR, Corolla GR, you actually get the free, and the Supra GR, you get the 1 year free membership for NASA. And it really helps embody the spirit of the automotive community. And of course, they come with stick shifts, which is actually exceedingly rare in the automotive community. And going to the track and seeing those pieces of beauty of the machine, and I've got some ride-alongs, it's astonishing how much engineering they put into those. And they just make you smile. They're so much fun to drive.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so rare to have that these days. But not to be cliche, but a lot of cars just look the same, they feel the same, they sound the same. And Toyota just knocks out like park consistently.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that. They have a great product that they put out. Vehicle, you still see older, you know, Camrys, Tundras, etc., still on the road today. So you know that has been built with, very detailed, almost you want to say with love.
Oh yeah.
In every vehicle. So it's definitely great to see. I drive around. I think I saw like going to work one day. I saw like a '94 Tundra, and I looked. I was like, man, didn't I know that Tundra started off this small, and now I'm driving this big truck, and just looking at the history, just seeing someone drive that is great to see.
Oh, it's one of those things where it's so good, it's almost a joke. Like I remember on Top Gear years ago, they did the torture test, and of course every other vehicle failed. It got to the point at the end of the test, they still couldn't break they tested the Hilux as well as the Celica. They couldn't break it. They had to drain the oil. And it still did a couple laps before the engine seized up. Like, it is astonishing how darn near bulletproof the platforms really are.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, with Toyota Connected, being there and how long I've been there so far, and just the great people I get to work with on a regular basis, I'm always happy going to work, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's rare.
Very true.
There's a lot of jobs people go to, and it's, hey, well, it's a 9 to 5. I get paid. I go home after. But no, I'm excited about getting up every day, going there, and IT, as far as being a little bit to make sure that they can do their job, and those departments making sure everything's running efficient and smooth from our side, so they can do their job, man. And like I say, is a great thing. I'm always happy to be there.
And then with the book club, what inspired you to start the club, and what's the top picks that you've read lately?
Oh man, so starting that book club, I would say if you saw me, in my 20s, I was not an avid reader.
Yeah.
Not one of those people. You give me a book and like, I'm not gonna read that.
Yeah.
But seeing, just seeing, my girlfriend right now at the time, right now she's a school teacher. She's an avid reader.
Oh really?
Reads all the time, and I always kept watching her read. And I'm like, man, she's always reading all the time. So I said, you know what? Let me just try to find a book.
Yeah.
See if it works. Started off with a leadership book, and then that one book turned into 3. That 3 book turned into 5. All of a sudden now I'm at 6, 7, 8 books, and all of a sudden ideas, etc., started just sparking in my head. I started thinking clearer.
Yeah.
Going forward. So I was like, man, if this is working for me, how about I get people on the team to start reading?
Oh yeah.
How about that? So started. Hey, we started doing a couple of books. We have done stuff from leadership books to Kobe Bryant's
really?
Mamba mentality. Just looking at different aspects of leadership and how because I think you can gain something even from like Kobe Bryant. He was a leader. He was methodical on what he do. Hey, that can transition along to what we're doing as well. We have to be methodical as well. So
absolutely,
I think the books have been great. We're still reading today. I think we wrote last year. We did 12 books. So
nice.
A book every single month. I'm hoping for us to eclipse that. And try to
improvement.
Yeah. Continuous improvement. Now I have, books at the house. I got my own personal stash that I'm reading and stuff we're reading for work. So, I'm reading all the time. Like I said, I look at myself from, if I was in my 20s and my 20-year-old self saw me read right now, he'd be like, what are you doing? Why are you reading that book? But I mean, I enjoy reading just in general. So it's been very helpful. Like I said, it's cleared my mind. I think a lot more clearer now because of that. Remember a lot more because of that. So I would advise anybody, try to find something that you like, especially if you're a person who doesn't read. Find something that you like, start off with that, because there's so many great aspects you can gain from just reading. You're gonna start increasing your vocabulary because of that. You're gonna start feeling more confident and conversational, awareness, talking to other people, and just in general, man, learning about the world and learning about history doesn't just have to be on TV. It's in the book as well. So like I say, really enjoy that part.
And a lot of those things throughout the books, the themes, historic books, a lot of those themes are reoccurring throughout history. It's a tremendous value if you think about it. Like on average, for under $20, you can get a pretty good book, and it's taken someone sometimes months or years to write. That's a pretty good value add from a consumer perspective too.
Yeah. It's the amount of effort they put in those books. Like you say, if someone sat there and wrote that book, designed that, put that together, and publish that. And, you know, you're the person who gets to read those books and gain a lot of knowledge and a lot of, you know, history, etc. from those books, which is great. You know, I'm about to, you know, start reading the Toyota Way.
Oh yeah,
you know, I'm about to start reading that, so I'm looking forward to that book.
I have that on my shelf in the office. I've been choosing an automotive theme this year. Last year I read a bunch of books on retail from all the founders, from like Home Depot to Starbucks, and this year trying to learn as much about automotive. Just I've been a gearhead my whole life, and yeah, it's fascinating. You read some of these books that are written. Some of them are almost 100 years old. Or you look at like Henry Ford's biography, and I mean a lot of the concepts are pretty parallel. Like, back in the day, there was a big controversy when Ford bought in his own magazine or newspaper. Like, oh my gosh, what's he doing? This rich guy doing that. Oh, Jeff Bezos did the same thing a couple years ago with the Washington Post. I mean, there's a lot of these parallels.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, that book club has definitely helped us. I've seen people who work in IT. You know, they're more confident. They're starting to bring ideas to the table now that we started the book club. We're discussing those ideas and how we can put those strategies, etc., into our everyday that we're doing there, and we're seeing a lot of benefit from it.
And very controversial question in the book community: do you prefer hardcover, softcover, or a tablet to consume your books?
Man, I'm old school. Give me a book in my hand.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say hardcover.
Same.
You know, and I'm gonna do that. And I got some people on the team. They're audio guys. You know, hey, this is when I get the time I'm gonna listen to when I'm in my car.
Oh, yeah.
But for me, I'm an old school. Let me flip the pages.
Yep.
Let me read that. Let me have the book in my hand. I'm an old school reader.
Well, I'm the same way. The only most disappointing thing though is when you buy a book like off the internet and you don't read the fine print. Like, oh no, I got mass market copy, or it's like the size of the font's like 0.3 or so it seems. But yeah, I really prefer a hardcover, a physical book in the hand that I could highlight, take notes, you know, use some bookmarks if I find something extremely or interesting or important, then you can review it a little bit more efficiently next time around.
Yeah, I agree. I'll get some that are brand new. I'll get some that are used. You know, the funny thing, you get used. Some of them used to be in a bookstore somewhere or a library. You know, I got one where, you know, I got 6 other people who checked the book out.
Oh yeah.
You know, but always good to have. Like I said, I'm an old school reader. I'm happy we started. She inspired me to do it. I always say that every day. I give her all the credit in the world for inspiring me to start that.
What's your favorite book of last year and then this year thus far?
Oh man,
I know it's hard to say.
That's hard to say, especially with so many. I'm gonna say Kobe Bryant's Mamba Mentality was great.
I haven't read that one yet.
It's a great book. I'm gonna say right now for this year, oh man, that's a difficult one.
Right.
That's a difficult one. I'm gonna say the one Power of Habit.
Really?
Is a great book. I'll send that to you.
Yeah.
We just read that one. Man, did I learn a lot about, you know, just habit in general. You know, how people work, how stuff can change just based off habit. You know, there's Diary of a CEO is another good one.
Really?
That's Steve Barrett, I think it is. And I'll send you that one as well. Diary of a CEO is a great book. The Power of Habit is another one that we just read. And I gained a lot of knowledge from that, especially on habit.
Oh, yeah.
Just, you know, there's a part in that book, and keeping it short. The guy's father wound up reading that book, and he was a smoker, like constant smoker. So he would all the time, if he wanted to smoke, he would go to the car, pick up a cigarette, smoke it, and that was his habit. Yeah. And he read the book and realized that he figured out a way to stop himself from smoking.
Oh, really?
So all he did was replace where the cigarettes were, and just put like peppermints in there.
Really?
So the habit still happened.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the cigarettes anymore. So all of a sudden, now he stopped smoking after that.
That's incredible. I mean, habits, especially good habits, are hard to form. Once you form them, they stay pretty consistent.
Yeah. Same thing. I realized, after having my hip surgery, had hip surgery earlier this year, and a habit I have with the Peloton. You know, there's 800 times I'm telling myself, hey, you could do that the next day, but I formed a habit. I'm doing it 4 times a week with no problem, loving every minute of it. But, there's also that the bad habit of your mind telling you could do it the next day. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. You can do it the next day. It's all right. You done it 3 times this week. Take a day off.
Exactly.
Take 2 days off. But that habit forming, now it's constant. I think, people need to, you got to find a way to have a habit, even with, business.
Oh, yeah.
It's a habit. If you're looking to be successful, you're looking to, create those, great projects and be successful. It's a habit.
Agree.
Yeah.
Now, what kind of technological innovations or that you can talk about? And what's it like working at Toyota Connected? What do you think is the future of automotive? And there's so many trends these days. I know it seems like every 20 years you have the cliche of, hydrogen is the future. It's like, well, maybe.
Yeah, hydrogen is still talked about.
I know you got the racing Corolla. Was it the Corolla GR hydrogen where you have that fuel cell working in it? Pretty astonishingly cool.
Yeah. No. Hydrogen is still a thing. EV is a thing now. Hybrids. I like the EV space. But hybrid right now is the way to go in my we talk about the Tundra. It's a hybrid vehicle. Works well. I think when you go to more EV, you still got some stuff that still needs to be figured out in that space. Charging. Charging's always a problem, especially here in DFW. There's not many. If you're in California, you can find a lot of spots to charge. But you got a 50-50 shot. Is that charging station going to work?
True.
Yeah. So, I think, EV or electric vehicles are good for, local commute.
Oh, yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to try to travel long distance in it, away, because everybody's going to where am I going to charge this?
Yep.
Fast charging, like I said, it's a 50-50 shot if that works. Are my kids in the car? Are they going to be okay for 30 minutes while I charge my car?
Time's money, too, for a lot of people.
Yeah, time's money. And, do you want the higher bill at your house? So, you got a lot of things to think about in that space. But, I think hybrid right now is the main focus for a lot of automotive companies, going with hybrid. But I think EV still there. You still got Tesla. You got Rivian, who's doing their thing now, and they always joke that, Tesla should have been Rivian. You hear a lot of that joke, right now. Yeah. So, just have to see how it looks going forward. But, I think right now hybrid is the main focus right now.
And I think it'll be interesting to see what's the new technological breakthrough. We've been using lithium ion for so long. I mean, to me, that'll be really one of the things that needs to happen for mass adaptation of EVs is what's the long-term durability of just a battery. Yeah. Because replacing one right now is prohibitively expensive for average Americans, and it's extremely complex, heavy, hard to recycle. And again, we're having some more recycle plants open to process that new material that's more volatile than traditional lead acid batteries. But a lot of folks I know, they're hesitant to buy EVs partially because the replacement cost of the battery. Yeah. So, I mean, and again, technology is a fascinating thing. It moves so fast. I think in our lifetime, we will see a new material technology for EV batteries.
I agree.
That could make it last, let's say, conceivably 20, 30 years.
I agree.
I mean, to me, that's why I'm an old soul. I got a stick shift, 3-pedal with a good old 4 cylinders of greatness, an ICE engine or internal combustion engine. And it's partially because I know it'll last darn near 1 million miles if I treat it right. And heaven forbid, if something does happen, you can go to a junkyard or scrapyard and replace an ICE engine for a couple $100, maybe a couple thousand, depending on what, make or model, obviously will depend. But the replacement cost is not half as bad as the competition for EVs. Yeah. And we're seeing, and again, Mr. Toyota called this when the grandson of Toyota used to be the CEO. He just, I think it was last year, retired. He's now on the board of directors. But he said, the future is hybrids, and darn near every automotive company said, oh yeah, we're going to go full in on EV. Detroit companies, but I won't say which one. But you look at the mass adoption in the United States, the biggest growing category, bar none, is the hybrid category. And Toyota was the company that was putting more research and development into that category than anyone else. Agreed. I mean, a lot of people, it's the best of both worlds. And like IT, having a low learning curve is very important for adoption. With hybrids, a lot of people can relate to, I just put gas in it and it charges itself. Perfect. I don't need to worry about figuring out, do I have to spend a couple of $1,000 to install a charger at my home? Do I have to worry about the electric industry standards for home installation or the regulations of the HOA will allow it, and all those variables and complexities that make it difficult for some people to adopt that new platform. It also takes, I forget the study, but in order to sell an EV, it takes you 4 times as long. Like it'll take an average of 4 customer visits to the dealership, as opposed to 1 for a good old internal combustion engine. So, I mean, just a consumer learning curve. Again, that's a negative incentive for dealers to push EVs. So, yeah, I think hybrid is going to be a big trend that'll continue to grow in our lifetime.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like I said, the automotive industry is very interesting.
Oh, yeah.
I'm still learning because, like I said, I wasn't a automotive guy until, I got to Toyota Connected. So I'm still learning a lot of what goes on in the automotive field. But, it's new for me, but, man, I love learning about what's going on.
It's kind of hilarious and kind of crazy to think that the new generation Prius performs better than some 90s supercars and sports cars.
I love the new Prius. Oh,
it's
I see
so
it all the time.
fast.
Yeah, I love the new
insane.
Prius. Yeah. I always joke out like I would drive that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would easily drive that. That the Prius when it came out with that, you got what the new 4Runner coming.
Oh yeah.
Oh man.
I was gonna say, can you reveal it or not? There's rumors it may come with a stick shift, maybe.
No, yeah, no. I can't say anything about that. Not for me, but I'm looking forward to it. I'll say that. I'm looking forward to it.
That's another reason I have a soft spot or a little love for Toyota. So one of the few companies dedicated to the third pedal. The only truck you can buy in North America with a stick shift, the only one, Jeep Gladiator does not count. I don't want to see that in comments. The only one is a good old Toyota Tacoma. So you can still get 3 pedals. I always tell people, like, if I win the lottery, I'm getting one of those. Like, that's such a rare experience to have.
I agree.
What are your thoughts on, would you ever personally like to enjoy one of those autonomous driving vehicles? I know for a couple of years, it was the #1 headline for pretty much all automotive news.
I think for me, I'm going to wait and see. Mine's going to be wait and see right now. I don't know if I'm ready to hop in one of those, today. But it's interesting. Of course, for that, we've always seen it in movies.
True. For decades.
Yeah, for decades.
Every sci-fi movie.
Every sci-fi. You go all the way back to Total Recall.
Yeah, I was just thinking, exactly.
They had that. So I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in that space. Would I get one today? No, probably not.
You also work in IT. You know how hackers can do things.
Yeah. You see that in movies as well. Like, autonomous vehicle. Let me hack that. So, that's an interesting space. I think, like anything, eventually that'll come to be, more common.
Oh, yeah.
It'll, like you say, technology will keep improving. We got a lot of stuff in AI now.
Very true.
Robotics is more advanced than it used to be. So, you got a lot of things progressing. I'm looking forward to see just technology-wise what's going to happen in the next 5, 10, even 20 years.
I mean, there's so much research development and new things in automotive. 20 years ago, if you said autonomous vehicles are going to be a thing, they'd laugh you out of the room. And it's also a generational thing. Like my nephew, or no, he's my cousin. It's one of those things where, to me, one of the pinnacles of life and becoming a man, becoming an adult, is getting a driver's license and getting that freedom.
Yeah.
Getting your parents' car and driving down the road. And he's now 18. He doesn't have a license. He has a license just now because he had to get one for college and work. But he didn't care. All his friends use Uber or Lyft, and they're like, why would I want to pay insurance? Why would I want my own car? To them, it is more convenient to use, again, to me, foreign concept, go inside a stranger's car. They're happy using those type of services. And for those folks, he said he'd absolutely, because I've chatted with him, he'd love to try one of those autonomous vehicles. And I see the argument. He says, well, if have someone else drive for me, if I'm working, I can boot up the laptop and get my smartphone. I can get some work done, especially if you have an hour commute to get to the office.
That's true.
So, there's a lot of benefits to that. And to me, it gets too bizarre when, there's some models, again, these are concepts right now, where there's not even a pedals or a steering wheel. It's fully autonomous.
Yeah.
And to me, that just blows my mind and concerns me. I'm like, wait a minute, how do I stop this or override it? But I know I'm also an old guy who drives a stick shift, or old soul who drives a stick shift, so I'm not their target. They're not their target prospective client. I know that.
Yeah. No, like you said, when I was a kid, I was looking forward to getting my license.
Yeah.
Driving, taking the tests, etc. I was looking forward to that. And like you said, now Uber, very accessible. Kids like, hey, I just take an Uber real quick. I don't really need to drive. So it's not something they're thinking like we did, for us. But, at the same time, that didn't exist when we wanted our licenses.
True.
So, we could be, if that existed then, we might be in the same case. If Uber existed in the 90s, the 80s, etc., we might be in the same case. But for us, I looked forward to getting my license. Oh, look, I got my license. Now I can go out with my friends, go where I want. I don't need anybody driving me. But
you got freedom.
Yeah, for freedom, but for them, Uber, Lyft, etc., works great for them.
It'll be interesting to see. It's not rolled out on mass adoption yet, but I know a couple of months ago, Mercedes was talking about how they were adopting humanoid robots for the assembly lines at some of their factories. And we have Boston Dynamics and all these companies that, again, it's very small scale now and rudimentary, conceptually speaking. But I wonder in our lifetime, will it get to the point where it'll be like the funny scene from iRobot with Will Smith? He goes, you got robots building robots. I wonder if that might be the next evolution in terms of the assembly line and vehicle efficiency and manufacturing.
Yeah. I think it's possible.
Yeah.
We're seeing a little bit of that, today. Mm-hmm. So I think it is a possibility. How can we keep moving stuff along the assembly line without having, taking the human aspect out of it? Right. I guess that's if that makes sense. So, I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen with that as well. We just got, if you notice, we got so much stuff going on at the same time.
True.
You got, advancement in robotics, AI,
EVs,
everything's moving simultaneously at the same time. So it's a lot to watch, great stuff to watch. So,
absolutely.
So like I said, I'm going to wait until, we get to a 5, 10, 15-year mark before, I start dipping my toes in that.
Oh, yeah. Or maybe someday we'll have the autonomous vehicle, but have a humanoid robot driving us.
Yes.
Like another dystopian movie.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's some things, there's vehicle assembly. Just safety alone makes sense to have a robot. I remember people are talking about revolutionary. Was it the 60s or the 70s where you just started to have very rudimentary just arm robotics getting introduced to them? They were able to do welds much more, with more precision than humans could possibly do. And at that time, it was very controversial. Some people thought it wasn't going to stick. A lot of people thought it was going to be the end of the world. And made vehicles cheaper and more efficient. And it's amazing to see how much technology, again, some of the books I was reading the past couple months, you're talking about, first time these companies getting off the ground, they didn't have any robots. The most advanced thing was like an electric drill.
Yeah.
And now you got whole factories of robotics assembling vehicles. It'll be interesting to see at the end of the day what the new manufacturing process where, I don't know, maybe even 3D printing. That's another huge marvel of just change that we've seen in our lifetime, where I know some parts of vehicles are having, for prototyping especially, it makes sense to have that type of capacity in-house.
Yeah. Man, just technology is just a wonder. I'll say that. Because, just not automotive, you go into, health.
Oh, yeah.
Health, they're trying to use technology to replace your limbs. They're trying to find out how can they help somebody who's paralyzed. How can they give them mobility again? So in all aspects, technology is just a wonderful thing.
In regards to automotive technology, what's the top 1 or 2 things where you just want it immediately and you're appreciative in terms of your vehicle has to have it now?
Man, the simplest form, you just want your vehicle to work.
Well, that's true.
You press the button, you think you went from turnkey to push start.
Yeah.
I think for me is just reliability, no matter what the technology is. I'm looking more for reliability.
Yeah.
I just want to be able to get out, get in my car, and be able to go. And just needs a little maintenance.
Oh, yeah.
But reliability is the best thing for me. No matter what technology's in it, we can advance technology all we want, but I'm always looking like, is it going to be reliable for me?
I was going to say, that makes sense. You work at Toyota. That's what they're known for.
Yes, sir.
And what are your thoughts on, because I know another big, especially among gearheads, big controversy is there's too many touchscreens. They want the physical buttons. Do you think, because you've seen some pendulum swing back and forth. Now, Volkswagen just announced a couple months ago that they're going to start reintroducing some physical push buttons into their vehicles because there's so much consumer backlash because they had done an overwhelming majority of the car accessory and the features were all on touchscreen. And I know for some things, I think it just makes more sense. What are your thoughts on that?
For as far as the touchscreen, I think certain things make sense. And certain things, don't, I'm usually a half and half person.
Yeah.
If it makes sense, let it go touchscreen. Now everything touchscreen, I'm not there yet. I'm not everything with every single button that I normally use is touchscreen, but a little good combination of both.
Oh, yeah.
I think I'm good. So, usually when I get in a vehicle, if I can have a nice touchscreen, for the radio, what I'm listening to, I can make some calls, etc. I don't have a problem if the AC unit is part of that touchscreen, but there's certain buttons.
Yeah.
Hey, let me have a little knob and I'm good.
Exactly. To me, the two things I want in terms of a physical tactile button is the volume, which, again, Honda Civic made the Gen 10 Honda Civic, for me, the only button for the volume is on the steering wheel. The other one's a slide bar. Mm-hmm. They knew they messed up because the next year in 2019, they changed it to a knob. Makes sense. But that and the heated seats and the climate, like the things where I just want to smash a button. I don't want to think about settings. Just smash a button to get the heated seats. That's all I want. Yeah. Like, I want to go into 3 different settings. Like for some things, like adjusting the audio. For the touchscreen, that makes sense. You're going to touch that maybe once a year, realistically, to change the speaker settings and move it around and balance it perfectly. But yeah, there's some things where I just want a button. yeah,
because if you think about it, you put all that on the touchscreen, it's going to have to be multiple layers you're going to have to get to in order to get to what you're looking for.
Oh yeah.
So the easiest thing, like you say, for the radio, I got a little knob for the volume. I'm good. I don't want to have to go into another area of the touchscreen in order to do this. So now I'm 5 layers down just to do one thing. So yeah, I like I said, the good combination of both.
And it's interesting. Some car companies, a lot of them are putting billions of dollars into research development for their own infotainment system. Mm-hmm. And I know others have just acquiesced where it's just a simple, just a glorified copy of your cell phone or the phone, so the phone mirroring where you just connect your phone and your phone basically becomes the car computer, which to me, I think that makes sense because, again, the adoption rate of smartphones in the United States is overwhelming. Most people have them. Yeah. And it's you already use your phone technology. It's pretty intuitive. What are your thoughts conceptually? Do you have a preference? Do you think one will be more successful long term for consumer adoption?
I think it's easier to have, right now we got CarPlay, if you got the Android, et cetera, you got the Apple. Most people are using that. I use that in my vehicle as well. I already know the buttons is already on the screen. If I need to do a map, I'm using my phone anyway, might as well put that on the screen. So I think, as far as adoption, it's a lot easier. You're taking what they're already using and you're just putting it on another screen for them. Exactly. So it works either. So I think, that'll keep happening. There's always going to be an option for that. I don't think anyone will go away saying, hey, this screen only works because of your phone. I don't think we're ever going to get to that point. But having, like I say, you go back to the combination. Hey, we got our infotainment, but you can attach your phone as well and still be able to use, your calendar, et cetera, on there, your phone. That's going to work. I think right now that's an easy adoption.
Agree.
You don't need instructions for that. Everyone knows how to use it now. I think that's just going to continue.
That's a good rule of thumb for IT too. If you need instructions for a product, you've almost failed.
Yes.
Nowadays with the competition, it has to be intuitive and easy to use.
Yes. Ease of use is a big thing.
Oh yeah.
You talk to a vendor and they're always talking about certain software. Like, what's the ease of use for it?
Yep.
How can I use this to connect with other software that we're already using? Then I don't want to get into, okay, now I got 15 pieces of software, really only to do what I need just one job to do. So people want to eliminate having multiple pieces of tools or software, eliminate that. If they can get one that does all, great. I only got one interface. I can look at everything I need to do. I can do my reports, etc. Great, instead of having to go to 5, 10 different things in order to pull stuff together. Even in IT, automation.
Oh yeah.
Everybody's looking, hey, how can we automate, certain tasks, etc. We do the same thing. Hey, if there's repetitive tasks, anything that's going to be manual, what can we do in order to automate it? I think everybody's doing that. Everybody's trying to, because that means for your team, they're going to be able to do some other bigger things.
Exactly.
They don't have to keep doing this. Hey, we got that taken care of with some automation. Now they can start doing some bigger tasks. And now you're going to start, all of a sudden, you're going to start seeing people on your team. They're going to start moving. They're going to start raising their hand. Hey, now I can go do some infrastructure. Now I can go, help out with security. Now you start seeing that growth pattern for people.
Exactly. And that's where they're the happiest is too, because they can grow even more.
Yeah. Same for me. Like during my career and still in my career, For me, I'm a student, so I'm always looking for an opportunity to learn something new. Even from the people on my team, I'm learning stuff from them. Just because I'm the leader.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm still learning stuff from them. I'm always trying to be a student.
And then, out of curiosity, what are your thoughts on the business model that some automotive companies are trying in terms of subscription? I remember BMW they got roasted in the news. It was like 2 or 3 years ago where they had heated seats as a subscription and Apple CarPlay as a subscription.
Yeah.
And it's just, it makes sense from a manufacturing perspective because it's cheaper to just have one vehicle. Like every vehicle has heated seats, and then they charge more when you use them. I understand the business perspective and the cost. Again, every time you make a change on a vehicle and you customize a vehicle, even if it sounds simple, it costs time, money, and resources on the assembly line and logistics. But everyone just hated it so much when they tried to have subscription heated seats.
Yeah, that doesn't even make any sense. You want to talk about, adoption? I don't think anyone's going to. No one's going to want to do that.
Everyone pushed back. But, it's interesting, though, because damn near every other industry, product category, everything is moving to a subscription. It's almost a joke at this point. Just because it is. I was like, we'll have a toaster as a service, I swear, before we know it. It's like, oh, yeah, you only use your toaster once a day. Why not subscribe? But yeah, BMW, they got a lot of pushback from that. And of course, they acquiesced and they said, yeah, we won't do this after all. We were just we were just pretending we were going to do this, like Wendy's, when they said, oh, we're going to have a variable pricing for our food. Yeah. And then the CEO next day goes, oh no, we were just joking. It was just a concept. We were testing out. We promise.
Yeah.
It's like they test the waters. There's certain product categories and industries where the consumer just won't yet accept it. I wonder in our lifetime, could that change?
Man, I think you got to like, what would that be in order for consumers to be like, okay,
yeah,
I'll do the subscription on it. I think if you're going into a vehicle, no. Yeah. Everybody wants, hey, I already paid for the vehicle.
Exactly.
I don't want to subscribe to something. I got to pay something on that, as a service. Nobody wants to do that. And it's like I'm already paying enough on the vehicle as it is.
Oh, yeah.
I'm paying my car insurance.
Oh, yeah.
I'm paying all this other stuff. I don't want to have a service. Now I got to pay for, like you say, heated seats. Or like, no one wants to do it. Like, why don't I have my heated seat right now? That's going to be the question every time.
It's physically there.
Yes.
But with software technology, you could limit it, of course.
Yeah. No one's going to want. I think right now, I can't personally see how someone's going to want to accept it. I'm thinking of me.
Yeah.
And I buy a vehicle and you tell me, well, your heated seats, that's a service.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to give you the whole car back after that.
Interestingly enough, it's somewhat, I don't know if it works or it doesn't. Well, I guess it works because they still do it business-wise, but I know Tesla has that where if you buy certain the fancy features, you're buying the software and it does not translate or transition to the new owner. Mm-hmm. So I could kind of see how BMW was looking at that business model and thinking, why not take this to the level where we incorporate that with hardware technologies? But again, it's all about the consumer. What do they prefer? I remember it's like mid through 2023, Ford filed and successfully gotten patent to actually recall their own vehicles autonomously. So if you're behind on your payment, they can just recall it back.
Mm-hmm, yeah.
Repo it, not recall it. And people were so irate and they got so many bad news. Now, this never happens in business. They voluntarily released the patent. Like, that never happens in business. Now, they did keep the patent for if you're late on your payment, well, your heated seats aren't going to work now, Johnny, which kind of horrifying if you think about it. But I understand if you're leasing a vehicle or I understand why they're doing it. But that was a pretty big news headline in 2023 in terms of automotive. It's not really revolutionary from a tech perspective, but from a business perspective. Because, a lot of things are moving towards as a service, and most people don't buy a vehicle outright. They do. A lot of people lease a vehicle, and a lot of people do payment plans.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see if they actually rolled it out successfully or if it kind of has another mass consumer pushback. But I think, especially in the summer, imagine someone turning off your AC. I think consumer pushback is going to be pretty hard.
Yeah.
I actually don't think, in terms of just fiscally speaking, I don't think the negative publicity. I think the negative publicity will actually outweigh any fiscal benefits they get to trying to squeeze out those extra payments. Even though, of course, the payments are due, they made the agreements. Yeah. But it's getting to the point where tech is it's changing automotive so much. It's overwhelming. It's capabilities they couldn't even dream about 10 years ago.
Yeah, man. I like technology is it's a fast moving thing.
Yeah.
Like you said, 10 years ago, we were in a totally different position. We weren't even thinking about some of the stuff that we get now.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to just continue. Technology is always fast moving. Once one thing is put out in the environment or or no matter what it is, if it's automotive, etc., there's always going to be something right behind it.
Agreed.
2.0 of that version, etc. So that's going to continue. I think technology space is a great space, no matter if it's automotive or another industry. It's a great space to be in because it's always flowing. It's always moving every single time. So one technology hits, there's always another version of it coming right behind it.
What's the most proudest accomplishment you're allowed to publicly talk about in terms of your current position at Totally Connected with some of the technological innovations you've done or some things your team has accomplished together?
I think for us at Toyota Connected, I always go back to the employee is always our customer, if that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
If we make our customers happy, then, that means we're doing a great job, et cetera. So I think for us, we had some initiatives that we did as far as internal, your normal network upgrades, et cetera, improving the business, swapping out old hardware, et cetera. But I think at the end of the day, no matter any of the big projects that we have done, it's the result that we're looking for. How are we improving our customer, our employees? How are we improving, making it a lot easier for them, a lot faster for them? Even if it just comes down to what hardware they're using, how are we improving upon that? So we always look at that. Even I have to always look future. Okay, we did. Just for example, we did a project, dealing with, maybe some of the computers. Yeah. What's the next thing we're going to do right after that? We always have to be so proactive. Proactive is going to get big for you no matter what you're going to do.
True.
I think in IT, proactive is a big thing. How can I fix issues before you tell me about them? And I think that's the next space that we're going to, especially for our team. How can we be more proactive on everything? How can we get an answer to you before you even ask it, if that makes sense.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So that's what we're pushing now. And even for me, like I said, always being a student and looking into the future of what we can do in our department.
What are your thoughts? I know the biggest innovation with laptops, a lot of them are starting to incorporate AI into the software and hardware. Do you think because again, we see some things in IT where it's a quick trend and some of them, of course, are revolutionary. Do you think having AI at the endpoint in terms of on the consumer's laptop, do you think that'll be a big trend or a short, flash in the pan?
I think that'll keep moving. Of course, depending on what industry and how many regulations you got is going to be determine how much is going to be able to be used.
True.
But far as AI and what it's doing right now, I think it's going to keep moving forward. I think it's going to be more and more in the machines, in the computers. People use it on a regular basis now.
Oh yeah.
So I think it's going to keep moving. But as far as depending on what industry you're in, is going to determine how is it going to be used and how many regulations you're going to have to put on it, and what kind of parameters you're going to have to use on it in the business in order for it to function correctly. You're probably going to go some places where they're not going to be able to use it at all.
Sure.
Just depending on that, I know for us, just because of the industry we in, it has to be looked at very, 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 very hard before it's even being used.
And what's it like working for a Japanese-based company? 'Cause obviously, they're probably headquartered in Texas for a U.S. entity, but of course, they're famously headquartered over across seas in Japan.
For me, it's good. I'm familiar working with a Japanese company. I worked at Oryx.
Oh, yeah.
I was a Japanese company. So for us, it's good. I would say everyone is great to work with. Very friendly environment. Very open environment, if that makes sense. Just trying to describe how even the space looks. It's very open. Everybody's great to work with. You meet some very intelligent people that work for Toyota Connected, and like I say, when I go back to inspiring, working with those people make you inspired to push even more in IT and what we can do for them. So working for the company, you go into like we said, Kaizen, continuous improvement. Everybody lives that. So you don't have a choice but to live that as well. You feel it, you see it, you be like, you automatically join into that and focus on that.
That's exceptional because so many companies will have a really great concept, really great methodology, but a lot of times they'll be soloed to a department or a certain region. To have a business really incorporate that throughout the whole culture across the globe, it's so rare. But of course, as we can see with just the results, it's paying off in dividends.
Yeah. Yeah, I get to. I'm lucky enough. I get to see it every day. How it just pays off. How you see, every single department and how excited they are every single day of what they're working on. Like I say, in IT and even in other departments, everyone's just excited. You see a bunch of people on their smile. They're working hard. They're thinking of new concepts, etc. It's great to see.
And out of curiosity, kind of a little question about your favorite car. What's your favorite Toyota in history ever made? If you're gonna win a lottery, you can buy old or new, whatever.
Man, for me, of course, I'm gonna say, like I said, just becoming an avid automotive guy. But if we're gonna do a Toyota, I'm a Tundra guy.
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, coming from New Orleans, that's not a truck, city.
Yeah.
Everybody's just in your normal cars. Here, I have grown to love being in a truck. So. Oh, yeah. Give me an old school Tundra. I will drive that till the wheels fall off.
They're bar none one of the best trucks on the market.
Yeah.
Man, for me, I think it had to be the Mark IV Supra. Just because, I mean, that thing, of course, is iconic.
Oh, yeah.
Not 90% because of the Fast and Furious movies. But yeah, talk about a bulletproof engine and perfect manual transmission. And that movie solidified that legend forever.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, there's people I know that work with still love it, still talk about it.
Yeah.
Love the new gen,
that
they have now and still talk about the old one. So yeah, Supras. Yeah. Who doesn't love that and seeing people drive that and of course like you say in the movies. Yeah.
Oh, the new one's so cool too. And I gotta give Toyota credit. I mean, obviously I don't know if it's not, if you don't know this tuning in, but it's a collaboration with BMW for the infrastructure, the base of the vehicle. But Toyota put a lot of research and develop to actually make, again, I have a theme with me, they made the manual transmission for the Supra. They did all that engineering in-house when BMW's like, nah, we don't think consumers will care. So then we got the Supra, the new one, with a stick shift.
Yeah.
And seeing those at the track makes me smile every time. And they sound amazing. I mean, the exhaust note, the engine note is beautiful. It's like a symphony.
Yeah. Oh, man, I know a couple of people who have them, and it's a beautiful thing. For me, I'm a little taller.
Oh, yeah.
A little big, you're not going to give me to get down there and get it. But, seeing other people with them, I like them.
And what do you like to do outside of the office?
Oh, man, my big thing, of course, is jiu-jitsu.
Oh, really?
Love jiu-jitsu. If I'm not spending time, at home or, with my son, etc., it's jiu-jitsu.
Oh, yeah?
Been doing that 13 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, 13 years. Love every minute of it. I've used a lot of stuff that I've learned from jiu-jitsu, in the business part of my life. It's given me a lot of confidence. Especially, you go into management, etc. You got to speak to people. You got to be able to talk to people, and it's helped me a lot. But also, it's humbling at the same time.
Oh, very.
You're in there. You're grappling. You're learning something. You got somebody who's weighing 120 pounds. Choke you out.
Oh yeah. Humbling.
Gives you a lot of retrospective on a lot of stuff. It makes you very humbled and calm. I've learned to be calm in a lot of high pressure situations because of jiu-jitsu. So, if there's ever a chance for me to retire, I would love to open my own school and teach.
How do you first get into that? I know now it's becoming so popular, partially because of Joe Rogan.
Mm-hmm.
Now I know there's a lot of gyms, there's a lot of places you can go for training. Where did you first hear about it, or how do you first get inspired to join?
For me, and I think for like a lot of people, it was the UFC when it first started. You see Hoist Gracie.
Oh yeah.
Starting to be like, what is that?
Yeah.
In New Orleans, there was no such thing as jiu-jitsu yet. Everything was taekwondo, karate.
Really?
I didn't start getting into jiu-jitsu until I moved here.
Oh, really?
And like I say, watching, the UFC, watching Hoist, it's like, what is it? How's he doing that?
Yeah.
How's he beating all these bigger guys, and taking them down, etc. So got involved with that. Like I said, been doing it for 13 years. It was a like I say, even starting a humbling experience. I was a lot bigger guy when I started. So the health benefits are great.
Oh, yeah.
I remember, a few classes when I first started, I got choked out multiple times by a guy who was 120 pounds.
Oh, yeah.
And didn't understand how is that even possible. But you learn so much in there, and you get to meet some great people in jiu-jitsu who work in multiple industries. You start learning about what do they do, you know, how to work. You know, you find people in the IT industry. Some people are lawyers, doctors, you know, etc. And jiu-jitsu, man, is a humbling experience. You know, I just recently got my black belt last December. Yeah.
Oh, congrats.
Yeah, thank you. Got my black belt last December. Man, and it was a lot of hard work. You know, they call jiu-jitsu a gentle art, and it is not gentle at all on the body. It's not. You know, the older you get, the longer it takes to recover. But man, I would tell anybody to try jiu-jitsu. You know, I've seen people, you know, one leg, one arm, you know, back problems, etc. And all of a sudden, you know, they used to, you know, be, you know, 270, 280 pounds, and all of a sudden, you know, they're in the best shape of their life now.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely would tell anybody you at least need to try it. But when I go back to humbling, yeah, it's going to be humbling. You know, I tell anybody, you know, you work for it, you're going to get your butt kicked a lot in jiu-jitsu. Yeah, you're not just going to get into it all of a sudden, you know, you're going to be this great person, you know, doing jiu-jitsu, but you learn a lot during those getting your butt kicks, if that makes sense. You learn a lot.
Oh, agree.
And I learned a lot along the way. Still a student to this day, and will continue to do jiu-jitsu until I can't do it anymore, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. That's one of the most humbling things. I need to go more. I've been going once a week to jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And it's astonishing. It's good. A lot of translations to life and business. I mean, one of the oldest warriors in history is the art of war, but they say you never underestimate your enemy. And it's true. You go to jiu-jitsu, sometimes it'll be the, you know, what seemingly the scrawniest, skinny guy, and all of a sudden he's killing it, and he's getting everyone in submission with almost like he's not even trying. It is so much fun.
Yeah, it's fun, man. I you know, I'm looking forward to getting back to it. I got about 2 more months since, you know, I had my hip surgery,
there you go.
And I get to get back on the mat. So I'm looking forward to it. You know, still going to gym, see everybody, but looking forward to getting back on the mats in about 2 more months.
What's the biggest challenge going up throughout the belts, or maybe tips or advice you can hand out for folks?
I'm going to tell anybody that, you know what, jiu-jitsu, in a sense, far as physical, no, it's not easy.
Yeah.
But far as your progression and learning, you just got to go.
True.
You just got to go. It's going to be hard. Anything that's great for you is going to be difficult. It is not going to be easy. But, I mean, it is worth going through it and meeting new people and meeting new friends. You know, it's worth it.
And then do you also do the competitions and compete back in the day?
I used to do it, a long time ago, yeah. Now, can I do it now? No.
Yeah.
But I had my little time where I did, probably early on when I was like a blue belt. But after that, I didn't compete anymore. After that, I just trained. Like I said, my hip just kept getting worse and worse over time. Couldn't really compete anymore, just trained. So I would tell anybody, do a tournament. Do at least one.
Yeah.
Do one. If you're going to do jiu-jitsu, at least do one tournament in your lifetime.
I was going to say, I might add that to my list.
Yes. I think you should. I tell anybody, do at least one tournament before you even get the black belt, before you even get the purple, etc. At least do one part in your journey. And the journey is great, man. I love the journey. Even when you get the black belt, it is the next chapter of that same journey. And I'm looking forward to that.
And you meet some of the best people there.
Oh, yeah.
Like, of all the hobbies I've had, I mean, I've never met a jerk, and I'm sure they exist, of course, but like, I've never met a not cool person over there.
No, man, everybody I've met, awesome people. Definitely, they are my friends. They are family. Everybody I've met, they're family for me now. Yeah. You know, like I said, you meet some great people. And I agree. I've never met a bad person in jiu-jitsu personally. Yeah. Not saying they're not out there, but for me personally, everybody I've met, man, I've had a great experience with them.
Oh, I was going to say, I definitely have to add it to my list. Thanks again for coming on the show, Renard. Appreciate it, man.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thanks again, everyone, for taking the time to tune in. Don't forget to click that like, subscribe button. I greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving the thumbs up, thumbs down, or comment. Great way to give us some additional feedback, letting me know how to make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe and have a great night. Topping Talks.